shepherd. Send someone to fetch him now, this minute.
At once. We'll get him at once. Come inside. I'll do nothing without your approval. Nothing.
Life and justice and belief in the moral law as the gods decreed it from the ancient summit of Olympus, the sacred mountain.
No man made those precepts.
They never sleep, nor decay with age as men decay.
They run their courses from immortal sources.
Like a pure and eternal fountain.
Arrogant self-love breeds absolute rule. The tyrant who eats up money and men, he seeks absolute power, and in one foolish hour overreaches himself and ends in the gutter.
An ambitious man most honors the gods.
When his demon drives him to serve the state, he sets his store by the moral law.
The gods love him, and his people prosper.
But what if a man should laugh at justice, grab what he wants, and disregard by his words and actions honesty and truth, and plunder holy shrines? Can he hope to escape the consequences of his rape? When the criminal makes off with his loot, and the murderer becomes king, why should I still cling to the old wisdom and morality, or honor in song the sacred harmony? And why should I make pilgrimages to Delphi or Olympia or any holy place if these manifest truths are not made absolute for every man, and the gods' warnings provoke laughter with no thought of what comes after? Oh, Zeus universal, if you hear our song, show us again your immortal power in this darkest hour, when liars fate and the hollows words are both forgotten, and your warnings unheard.
I have decided, senators of Thebes, to visit the holiest temples of the city, to make sacrifices there with incense and flowers to the all-powerful gods. The king is confused at the moment by his own nightmares and fantasies. He can't make balanced judgments or estimate from past experience what is likely to happen. Each new sensational revelation he takes as truth and is terrified the more. I've tried to comfort him, but I've failed. So it seemed sensible to offer prayers, and first to Apollo, whose altar stands nearest. Sunlight and healing, we stand in the shadow of a curse. Shine on our darkest corners where there is sickness and dirt. Make us whole and clean. Like desperate sailors, we lose our last hope when we see our captain in despair.
and show me the way to the palace of King Oedipus. Or better still, to the man himself, if you know where he is.
Well, this is the palace, and the king is inside it.
This lady is his wife and mother of his children.
God bless her then and all her family, bearing children to such a great man.
God bless you too, sir, and thank you for such a courteous greeting. Have you traveled here for your own purpose or to bring us news?
News, dear lady, good news too. For your husband and for his whole family.
What news is it? Who sent you?
I come from Corinth, and my message is bound to please you. Though it's painful too, and will make you sad to begin with.
One message causing two such opposite reactions, tell me.
The Corinthians will make Oedipus king of the whole isthmus. Everybody says so.
But Polybus rules in Corinth and has done for years. Isn't he still king?
Polybus is dead, my lady, and buried.
Polybus is dead. The father of Oedipus dead.
Unless I'm a liar, in which case strike me dead on the spot.
You go, quickly, run to the king. Tell him the news. Oh, oracles, dreamers of dreams, fortune tellers, where are your predictions now? The one man Oedipus has kept clear of for all these years for fear he should murder him, and that man is dead at long last. Dead, and Oedipus had nothing to do with it.
Jocasta, my dearest, you called me out from the palace again. What's going on?
This man has news for you. Listen, and then tell me what you think of oracles with their mystification and mumbo-jumbo.
Who is he? What does he have to say?
He comes from Corinth. Your father, he's dead. Polybus, do you understand me? He's dead.
What? Tell me yourself. Get it quite clear.
I can't put it any plainer. He's dead, all right. He's gone the way we all go.
How did he die? Was it murder or sickness?
Sleep comes easily to an old man's eye.
He was ill then and gradually declined. Poor old man.
He was old and tired. He'd lived long enough.
Well then. What? No, Jocasta! That priestess at Delphi with her oracle, a whole sky full of screaming birds prophesying ruin. I was the man who would kill my father, and my sword has never left its scabbard. Perhaps he died of a broken heart because I was in exile. Perhaps I killed him that way, but I don't think so. Polybus is dead. And so is the oracle and all its prophecies, dead and rotten.
That was my prophecy, didn't I say so right from the beginning?
You said it, but I was confused and frightened.
Forget it now, it's over.
My mother, while she's alive, I can't be safe. There's still that to fear.
Fear? Why fear? We live our lives at the mercy of chance, the purest coincidence. No one can predict the future, so what's the point of fearing it? Live, enjoy life, take each day as it comes. As for marrying your mother, you're not the first man to have dreamed that dream. Every man is his mother's lover in imagination or in daydreams. It's commonplace. If a man dwells on his most private fantasies, his life won't be worth living, believe me.
Well, that's all very well. Your celebrations of the woman who brought me into the world happened to be dead too, but she isn't. Not yet. She's alive, and while she lives somewhere inside me, I'm still afraid.
But much less afraid. Your father's dead.
Less afraid, maybe still afraid of her.
Don't mind me asking, sir. Who is this lady who scares you so much?
The Queen, Merope, the dead king's wife.
What's she done? There's nothing to scare you about her, surely.
My friend, there was an oracle once from Delphi. Dreadful prophecy.
Too dreadful to tell a stranger? Or can anyone hear it?
Oh, it's no secret. Apollo's mouthpiece, the Pythia herself, told me I was doomed to marry my own mother and kill my father bloodily with my own hands. It's for this reason that I left Corinth and have stayed away so long. I've prospered, as you see, abroad. But nothing can compensate for the loss of my parents' love. The pleasure denied me of seeing them face to face.
And this is the fear that's kept you in exile? No other reason?
Well, it was enough. I was determined not to kill my father.
Well, I came to do you one good turn, and now I can do you another.
What other? Well, if you know more, you'll earn my gratitude.
That was partly my motive in coming, I will admit. And to do myself a good turn later, when you come back home.
Home? You mean Corinth? I shall never go back. I shall never see either of my parents again.
My dear young fellow, you've got it all wrong.
What do you mean, old man? For God's sake, tell me everything you know.
This fear of yours that stops you coming home.
The fear that the God's prediction should come true.
Is it all that about your parents and the crime you're doomed to commit?
Of course it is. And from the very first moment, that fear has never left me.
Pointless, sir, quite without basis. Nothing to be scared of at all.
Why? I don't understand you. If I'm their son...
Who says you're their son? Oedipus wasn't your father. No relation at all.
What are you saying? Oedipus wasn't my father.
No more your father than I am. And just the same relationship, in fact.
The same relationship? My father and you? How is that possible?
It's possible because that man was not your father, and neither am I.
And why did he call me his son?
I gave you to him as a present.
Gave me to him? But he loved me like a son. No father could have done more.
He had no children and wanted a child.
What was I then? A foundling? Or a slave child bought somewhere?
Not a bit of it. You were found on the mountain in a hollow under some trees up there on Githairon.
And what were you doing up there?
Looking after the sheep. That was my job.
What were you? A journeyman shepherd taking whatever work came?
That's right. And a good thing for you that I was, eh? Son, because I saved your life. No question about that.
What, was I in danger then? Or in pain?
In pain. Look at your ankles. They're still swollen up more than normal.
What's that to do with it? An old weakness I've had since a child.
I know you have. Your ankles were drilled through and tied together. I cut you free.
That must be true. You can still see the scars. I had them as a boy.
How else did you get your name? Oedipus, swollen foot. Well, that's what it means, isn't it?
Dear gods. Who would do such a thing to a child? My father or my mother?
Don't ask me that. Ask the other chap, the one who gave you to me.
Gave me? You didn't find me yourself?
I did not. There was another shepherd. He gave you to me and asked me to look after you.
And who was he? Could you identify him?
He was always thought of as one of Laius' men.
Laius? The Laius who was king here before?
King Laius, that's the one. This chap worked for him.
And is he still alive? Where can I see him?
Ask your own people. They should know.
This shepherd. Good people, do any of you know him? Have any of you seen him here or in the country? If you know this man, for God's sake, say, speak up now. The time has come to solve this mystery once and for all.
I think that this shepherd and the shepherd you've already sent for must be identical.
But ask the Queen. She's sure to know.
Jocasta, you know the shepherd, the one we've sent for. Is it the same man?
What man? What does it matter? One shepherd or another? None of it matters. Forget it, the whole thing. Don't pursue it.
Get it? Of course I can't forget it. What nonsense. My birth's a mystery, but with all these clues, I intend to solve it.
Listen to me. In heaven's name, listen. If you want to stay alive, this search must end. It's making me ill. I'm sick with it already. Isn't that enough?
There's no need for such glue. Suppose it proved that I was born a slave. From generations of slaves. Would that sicken you or affect your standing?
Listen, I'm begging you, don't go on.
I must go on. I must know the truth.
I know what I'm talking about. I'm telling you this for your own good.
And when did I ever put my own good, as you call it, above the service of the state?
My God. You're doomed. You can't escape. I have one wish, and one wish only, that you never discover who you really are.
Hurry, one of you! Fetch that shepherd here. My wife is too proud of her blue blood. She's scared she may have married a slave.
It's finished. No chance now. You're doomed. I've said all there is to say. And my last word to you, forever.
Why has the Queen left us so suddenly?
Why did she become so emotional?
I don't like it, this refusal to speak.
It's like the silence that hangs over a city when a storm is about to break.
Storms, hurricanes, let them all come. I've traveled this far, and now I am determined to discover my identity. If my birthplace was the gutter, I shall hunt it out. My wife, like all women, is snobbish about rank and upbringing. If I was the child of chance, with good luck for my godparents, I wouldn't be ashamed. My true mother is fortunate coincidence. My brothers and sisters, the changing seasons. And I change with them as naturally as the trees. If that's my background, who could ask for better? I am what I am. I have no wish to be otherwise. But who I am, that I must know. And I will know it.
If I can foretell the future, either by prophecy or common sense, I predict that by tomorrow morning, this truth will be dawned. That mysterious Kitharum, that magical mountain, was father and mother and nurse to Oedipus our king. And our voices will sing praises for his outlandish birth, a child of the earth, and glory to Apollo and thanksgiving. Or perhaps some sky-born Olympian brought him to birth, an immortal mother. Maybe Pan, who goes roaming the slopes at evening, seduced a wild goddess of woodland or screen. Or Apollo, who relishes high pasture, bred a son from a spirit. Or Hermes, in his summit of Cyrene, did the deed. Or was Dionysus' passionate seed sown on Helicon, where a nymph lay dreaming?
Elder statesman of Thebes, I think I can see the man we're waiting for. I'm making a guess. I never set eyes on him, but my men are bringing him, and he looks the same age as this man from Corinth. See the one? You should know him. You've seen him before.
I recognize him. This is the man.
He was Laius' servant, and honest as the day.
Now, friend from Corinth, you speak first. Is this the man you mean?
It is.
And you, old shepherd, look me in the eye. And answer my questions. Did you work for old King Laius?
Yes, sir, I did. I was born and bred in his service, not bought in the market.
And what was your job here? How were you employed?
For most of my life, I've been a shepherd, sir.
And where? In what part of the country did you usually work?
Well, it would be Kitharum, mostly, all around there.
And this fellow here? Have you ever seen him before?
What man do you mean, sir? How would I know him?
This man, standing here. Did you have any dealings with him ever that you remember?
I can't say. Not just this minute. I can't remember.
Of course, he's forgotten, but I'll soon remind him. The days when us two were neighbors up there on Kitharum, he won't forget that, will you? He had 2 flocks and I had 1. 3 seasons altogether we were up there, the 2 of us, and on the mountain from spring right through to the autumn. Then I drove my lot down to Corinth, and he took his lot down to Thebes to Laius' place. Now, is that true or isn't it?
Well, true enough, it's a long time ago.
In that case, you won't have forgotten that boy. The baby you gave me. You told me to look after it and bring it up as my own.
Why are you asking about that? It's years ago.
And he's a grown man. My dear old mate. This is that baby.
God damn you, be quiet. Keep your mouth shut.
Now, old fellow, you deserve that sharp tone more than he does.
Why, great king, what have I done wrong?
Not giving a straight answer to a straight question. He was asking you about the child.
It's just talk. He knows nothing. He doesn't understand.
Now, listen. If you won't speak willingly, you'll be forced to speak.
I'm an old man, sir. Don't hurt me, for God's sake.
Twist his arms back, quickly.
No. God help me now. What have I done? What more do you want to know?
This man here was asking you about a child. Was it you who gave him that child? Was it?
Yes. It was me. I wish I'd died that day.
You'll die today unless you tell the truth.
I'll die if I tell it anyway, that's for sure.
This fellow is still determined to prevaricate.
No, I'm not. I told you, I gave it him. What else?
Where did it come from? Was it your child? Or did someone give it to you?
Not mine. Would I give my own child away? It came from someone else.
Who else? From Thebes? From one of the citizens here? What kind of house did that baby come from?
I beg you, sir. By all the gods, don't ask me that.
I am asking. If I must ask again, you're as good as dead.
Well, you see, it was born in Laius' house.
A slave? Or was it a blood relation?
I'm on the edge, sir. Must I say it?
Yes, we're both on the edge. I must hear you say it.
They did say it was his. But the queen in the palace, she could tell you.
Do you mean she gave it to you?
Yes, sir, she did.
Why? For what purpose?
To kill it, sir.
Her own child. Poor woman.
Yes, sir, there was some prophecy. She was scared stiff.
What prophecy?
There was talk that the boy would kill his father.
And why, in the name of all the gods, did you give it to this man?
I couldn't kill it, master. I couldn't do it. A little boy, 3 days old. I thought he'll take it miles away to his own country. It'll be all right. So he took it and saved its life, and now it's all turned out like this. If you are that man, sir, the boy my friend took to Corinth, you were marked out for suffering from the day you were born.
All of it. I know it all now. Nothing left to find. It all came true. Every single word. Let the night come. Daylight has no mercy. It shows too much, too clearly. Yes. My parenthood, a crime. My marriage, a crime. And that murder committed on my own father. I see it all now.
shadow thrown in the dust is the short life of man.
The sunlit generations pass into the night.
And happiness, like a bird in flight, flutters and is gone.
We have seen Oedipus the king brought down to misery.
Suffering, grief, happiness, pain is mortal man's destiny.
Like a champion marksman, he shot down the Sphinx in full flight.
The master of the gods' reward was kingship and power over men. The prize of 1 hour of brilliant insight.
From that day he was king in Thebes.
Like a solid wall, his power surrounded us, and we sang of the benefits of his rule.
Was there ever a reversal of fortune more terrible than this?
How can any man endure such merciless agony?
Who was ever marked out by destiny for suffering like his? Oedipus, world-famous king, when you sucked and fondled at the same breast.
How could the flesh keep silence so long, where both son and father caress?
Time is an all-seeing eye that searches out hidden guilt when it seems most secure.
Then brings down the night
On the father and son who shared a wife.
And the blood that was spilt.
Son of our murdered king, why did you ever come here?
Your destiny leaves me choking with tears.
Bringing salvation for us with your own misery.
Wise men of the city, if you have any feeling at all for the royal family of Thebes, those descendants of Labdacus, you can't hold back your tears. Not when you hear what I have to tell you and see yourself the terrible scene in the palace. In there, things have been done, deliberate things of such horror, such self-mutilations that rivers could not wash away the blood. And the stain on the family will be everlasting.
Haven't we seen and suffered enough?
What more is there to say?
First of all, in the plainest language, the queen is dead.
Dead?
How can she be dead? Poor woman.
I'll tell you how. She killed herself. You haven't seen it, and count yourselves lucky. I shall never be able to forget it. That image will always be with me now. I was there. And I'll tell you what happened as accurately as I can. When she rushed into the palace in anguish, she went straight into the bedroom, tearing her hair out in handfuls and muttering like a mad woman. She slammed the doors and locked herself in, and we heard her shouting. Something about Laius, her first husband, who's been dead for years, and the night they conceived the son who was to kill him and breed misbegotten children on his own mother. Then it became confused. She screamed and beat upon the bed where she had conceived a husband by a husband and children by a child. I heard all that. Her actual death was behind the locked doors. And Oedipus broke in at that point, raving up and down the hall and shouting for a sword, so that all our eyes were fixed on him and we all forgot what she was doing. That wife of mine, that wife and mother, he shouted. Her fertile belly, twice it's been harvested, me and my children. Then he suddenly made for the door. None of us told him, as though some premonition suddenly told him she was there. He bellowed and shouted and shoulder-charged the doors and kicked them till the bolts and hinges shattered, and he stumbled in. We saw her slowly turning in the air,
swinging slightly like a pendulum, strung up by the neck. She'd hanged herself. The king ran to her, loosed the ropes, and lifted her down, all the while groaning heartbreakingly like an animal. He laid her gently on the floor, and then this was unbearable. The worst of all. There were 2 golden brooches pinned on her dress. He opened them up, lifted them high in the air at arm's length, and plunged them down into his eyeballs, screaming and groaning that his own guilt and suffering were too great for his eyes ever to see it, that now they would both be in darkness forever, that he would never see again those he should never have seen, nor ever love those he should never have loved. That's the way he went on, cursing himself and stabbing his eyelids again and again, till his face was a mass of blood and tears, not drops of blood, but like a thunderstorm or cloudburst gushing down his cheeks. So they embraced in the crime and embraced in the punishment too. Man and wife together. They were happy, for a long time. The family was famous and considered fortunate. But from today, horror, pain, and grief, all the suffering men have a name for, will make their names notorious forever.
Has he any relief? Or is the pain getting worse?
He's yelling for someone to unbolt the doors and drag him out so that all Thebes will see the father killer and mother. I can't say that word in public. He's shouting repeatedly that he must be kicked out of the city. He's exiled by his own decree. He mustn't stay long enough to let the curse fall on his own family. But he's in pain, and half his strength is gone, poor man. He can't see. He needs someone to guide him. And the physical agony must be worse than any man can bear. You'll see yourself. The doors are opening. Sorrow and pity you must feel when you see him with your own eyes. His worst enemy couldn't wish him this.
Any man's eyes ever seen sufferings more terrible?
Mine have not.
What mania, what insanity has turned your brain, man of all sorrows?
Some demon of the night, some destructive impulse in man, prowling silently round you, waiting its chance.
Has sprung within human strength, howling at your throat.
I am fascinated and repelled.
In a trance of horror and pity.
I want to watch your pain.
And to turn from it.
I want to learn from your torment.
But I shudder at what the knowledge might mean.
Pity someone. I can't see where my legs are taking me. Is that my voice? Floating like a ghost in front of my face. The punishment begins here. Where will the end be?
A place unspeakable to men's ears. Horrors too dreadful for human eyes to see.
Dark now. All dark. This nightmarish blackness surrounds me. I shall never see daylight again. A black cloud, a thick fog, forever enfolds me like a cloak. The pain in my eyes, dear gods, grinds sharper. But the pain in my memory cuts deeper.
This is his life now, to suffer twice over. The body's sharp pain, and the mind's dull ache.
My friends, are you there? You don't desert me. Still loyal, still kind. You stay with me, although I am blind. You give me your care. I have no eyes now to see your face, but I know that you're here by the sound of your voice.
Your mutilated eyes, what darkness in your mind? What demon could bring you to such despair?
Apollo, my friends! Apollo the god! His power determined my agony, but these eyes were blinded by my own hands. Why have eyes to see my own degradation and misery?
This is the truth, simple and hard.
And the earth's loveliness, or all its beauty, comfort eyes like mine? What music could I hear to soothe such pain? What could I ever see or hope to see to bring relief or cure? Waste no more time. Take me from the city. No one has ever been more damned. No pity for the man all men curse and the gods abhor.
The pain in the flesh is doubled in the mind. Ignorance made you happy. The truth has made you blind.
I'm the man who saw my ankles bleed and cut me free from those straps. His mercy only made things worse. I should have died. Did I live for this agony? And for those that loved me a lifetime of misery?
Better a child's grave on the mountainside.
Now my name will be known forever. My father's killer, my mother's lover, born to cause suffering and to suffer. Will there be any horror or shame not synonymous with Oedipus' name, or ever a man more damned? No, never.
You bring blindness and exile on your own head by this action. You would have been better dead.
You must never say that. Never. What has happened here has happened for the best. Don't dare tell me otherwise. If I could see, how could I look my father in the face when I meet him in the underworld? Oh, my mother, no death could be punishment enough for the horror of what I have done to her. Oh, my children whom I love, what pleasure for me to see their faces again, conceived as they were conceived. My eyes are a father's eyes. What would they see? And this marvelous city in which I was born, the greatest among men, if I had eyes, I could still see its palaces and temples, which by my own edict, my own folly, my own insane determination, are forbidden the murderer of Laius, the unclean thing that all men turn away from, and the gods hate, I mean myself. With eyes in my head, how could I look anyone in the face, even the Theban people in the streets? My hearing, too, these ears. If I'd known a way to block up these receivers, or cut them off from every sound the world makes, I'd have done that too, without regrets, to make a prison cell of my own mind, in solitary confinement from the world. No sight or sound of all these horrors could touch me there. That would be peace. The wastelands of Kithyron, like a nurse, cradled me, kept me alive for this. Trees, gullies, naked rocks, you should have let me die. You preserved me to parade before the well-kept secret of who my father was, and who my mother, and Corinth, my childhood home, and Polybus and Merope, whom I loved and thought my parents. How could you imagine what a corrupt man your open-faced boy would become in his age? If ever a rosebud was soggy and rotten within, if ever an apple was filthy with maggots, let these images describe me in my youth, born damned among the damned, and that triple junction under the trees. That overgrown place where three roads meet. Do the trees still remember? And the shaded pathways, what happened there? Whose blood was spilt? My father's, my own. On the way to Thebes I was that day. And what acts I did when I got there on the dead man's wife. Entering so joyfully the same passage that gave me exit into the world. Sowing my seed in the warm earth when I was germinated. A marriage for a monster. Father, brother, son, bride, wife, mother, children, sisters, all confused, horribly mingled in a liaison too filthy to give a name to, too corrupt to be remembered with anything but loathing. No more then. Nothing. What should never have been done should never be spoken of. Take me away, quickly, for God's sake. Hide me as far from the city as a man can go. Drown me, bury my body under the floor of the ocean. Where are you? Is anyone there? Or have you all gone? For pity's sake, someone help me. Don't leave me alone. Take me. You need not draw back.
It's not infectious, this crime of mine. I am the one who must bear the guilt and the punishment and the shame. And I must bear it alone.
It's up to him now to deal with you.
He will advise us and take action as provisional governor in your place.
Pray on. Of course. There's nothing I can say to him. And why should he listen to anything I say? I've treated him unjustly.
I haven't come to crow, Oedipus, now you are down, nor to accuse you of crimes or misjudgments committed in the past. But you, people, if you have no respect for the common decencies, the sympathy due to any man's suffering, revere the sun at least, whose warmth and brightness sustains us. The open street at the end of the day is no place for a thing unclean, cursed, and sentenced to be cast out. Not even in the open air, on the common earth, or under the rain from heaven will he find welcome or shelter. Take him in. His sufferings are no business of the public, it's private. A question of family, grief, and prayer. A matter for his relations, not the whole city.
This is a kindness, Creo. More than I expected in my degradation. For your sake, not mine, let me ask one favor.
What favor? You need not go on your knees.
Get rid of me quickly. Deport me to some empty wasteland where the human voice is never heard.
I could have done that already, of course. But it seemed safer as a matter of priority to consult the oracle.
But the oracle has spoken. Unambiguously, kill the father killer. Drive out the unclean thing. I am the man.
That's true. That's what was said. But in circumstances as extraordinary as these, it seemed safer to consult the god again.
For what? I am the cause of all this pain, and the punishment is known. What is there to ask?
Haven't you of all men learned to trust the gods?
Yes, I've learned that. One favor more I must ask or beg. The woman who lies dead in the palace, let her be buried decently with whatever formalities you think appropriate. She's your sister, your flesh and blood, and you owe her that. In my case, Thebes is my country, my homeland, though I never knew it until today, and my presence alive within her walls would be a curse on her. Let me leave and go up into my own mountains of Kithaira. My mother and father left me there to die in the wilderness, and I shall die now in accordance with their wishes who wished me dead. My death, I know, will be mysterious. My life was saved miraculously, and not for the common death of old age or sickness, but for some other ending, awe-inspiring, and perhaps evil. Let it come as it will. And now, my children, the boys, Creon, Polynices and Eteocles, they're almost men and can look after themselves wherever they go. But the girls, they're so small, such babies yet. They have shared everything with me, food and drink and company. I doubt if they've ever so much as eaten a meal away from their father. Look after them, Creon, for my sake. And if I could, just once more, touch them and share my tears with theirs, just once more. Kindness and generosity could do no more. Grasping their hands and remembering I could imagine I had eyes to see them once more before I go. I heard something. Are they here already? Are they crying? You have taken pity, Crayon, and brought them to me unasked. The dearest of my children. Am I right?
I know how much you love them. And love them still in spite of everything.
God bless you, Crayon. May you have better luck both as a king and as a man than I've had. Children, where are you? Come here to me. Embrace me. Antigone. Ismene. These hands are your brother's hands and your father's. The hands that blinded me. I was blind already, if the truth be known. I saw nothing as I fathered you on my own mother, only a wife. Was ever a man more blind? My eyes can't see you now, but they can cry still, and they do. To think what hard lives you will lead in the world when you're grown up. The vicious things people will say, festivals and public holidays. No fun for you they'll be, staying at home in tears while the others enjoy themselves. And then later, when you're old enough to be married, where is the man who will be brave or foolhardy enough to take you on, and that scandalous reputation that shall stick to all my children and my children's children? Their father killed his father, then ploughed up the same ground where he sprouted, gave his own mother children. Those girls, yes, they're his sisters. That's the sort of thing people will say. And who will marry you in those circumstances? Nobody will. My poor girls. Virginity and barrenness is all you can look forward to. Crayon, Menoicus was your father, and you must be their father. Now, as nearest kin, the two of us who brought them into the world are both dead, or dead to them. They're quite alone apart from you. Don't let them wander as orphans through the world, homeless as well as husbandless, and don't condemn them to share the punishment that falls on me. They're very young, very poor now. And if you don't help them quite without hope, promise me. And take my hand upon the promise. Good brother. Good. If you were older, my girls, and could understand such things, I could tell you so much. But we'll leave that now. When you say your prayers, ask for peace, a place to call home, and a better life than your father's.
That's enough. No more tears in public. You must go inside.
No. Not yet. Just a moment longer. Even against your better judgment.
No. Everything must be done correctly. The proper thing at the proper time.
On one condition. That I have your promise.
My promise?
To send me into exile.
That is the gods' decision, not mine. I shall follow their instructions.
Don't force me in there when the gods hate me.
If they hate you, they will cast you out.
But do you agree? Will you do what I ask?
No. I shall do what I say I will do.
Well. I'm in your hands.
Then go in. But leave the children here.
The children? Don't take them away from me. Don't do that.
Don't give me orders. Those days are over. Your orders have brought you to this. Now you must learn to obey.
inheritors of the ancient city of our ancestors.
You have all seen Oedipus the king, who solved the riddle the she-monster sang,
and by his genius saved the state,
and whose fame for that deed was so great,
no man could but envy him.
Overwhelmed by a tidal wave of disasters that will sweep him to his grave.
Judge no man's life until he is dead.
There are no winners
till the race is run.
Call no man fortunate or safe from pain.
Till he lies in his last everlasting bed, and the earth covers his head.